All right, students, welcome back. This is Mr. Campbell here on a Tuesday after Labor Day with day 5 of our newest unit. And we can see here, I did say I would post a quiz over the weekend, and I did not. So I'm going to be posting the quiz today. That quiz will be 10 questions, multiple choice, and I will give you until Friday to complete it. So again, I'll just give you some extra time to complete that with the notes you have taken. Keep in mind, we will also have our next notebook check this Friday as well as our next quiz, which will kind of go over through the next weekend. So that'll be due the Monday following. But we have 2 quizzes, guys, and we will have a notebook check. Again, I'm going to post that last week quiz right away. I had some of it typed up, and I never got to it because of some plans. But I'll get that to you guys right away, and I will extend the deadline for that. No worries. As we can see, here's some quick announcements, guys. My in-class students do have a lab this week, so I'm going to try and figure out maybe an alternative assignment for us to work on since we can't work in person in our online learning class with the activities that are in the lab. So I'll come up with an alternative assignment for that. We have the syllabus signatures needing to be completed by Friday, as well as the syllabus quiz. So make sure to do that as soon as you can before the week is over, and I will actually be updating grades throughout the week. So our grades will be fully up to date this week. Again, if you have questions or concerns, please send me a direct message on Canvas. As for our questions, number 1, what do scientists say were the first organisms on Earth? 2, what is spontaneous generation and how was it disproven? And 3, what is primordial soup? Again, all those questions need to be put on page 6 or 7B of your notebooks. And let's look over. Number 1, we have unicellular bacteria. Again, guys, be sure to pause the video, think about each question so it helps you remember it. And then don't let yourself see the answers in the video till after you thought and made a estimation on those answers. But we have unicellular bacteria, those simple-celled, single-celled bacteria, which are going to be your first organisms on Earth. And some of them surviving in very low oxygen areas. Then we have the spontaneous generation, which was disproven. It's the idea that organisms can simply just appear from thin air. They can come from non-living materials. So living things can come from just random objects. That is not the case. I can't pull a rabbit out of a hat. I can't take food and make it into an animal. I can't make dirt and make it into an animal, right? This was disproven through what we call the jar/fly experiment. This experiment involved the meat being covered in a jar and being open in a jar. The open jar meat had the flies contacting it and laying the eggs, where we had the flies coming out, whereas the covered jar had the flies, no flies on it. So that proved that flies don't come from meat. Flies come from other flies. You can't have life without other life giving that life, whether it be through birth or through eggs. Okay, and then our last topic is going to be primordial soup, and it's the idea that life originated on Earth's surface in warm, shallow oceans. So kind of this bubbling soup on the surface of Earth with lots of chemicals and maybe amino acids to first create life, right? Okay, go ahead, guys, update your table of contents. Pages 8 through 9 we'll probably do tomorrow or the day after if you have an alternative assignment. 6 through 7 we've been working on for origin of life. And just so and pause the video if I go too fast. And if you ever do this year come to lab in person, be aware that you cannot wear open-toed shoes at the labs. Just for safety reasons, if there's things in the lab, on the floor, which there shouldn't be. But again, that's just a Hillsborough County policy, right? We will have grades updated through the week, like I said, and the Unit 1 test will probably be early or middle of next week. So our first test, which you guys don't need to worry about actually, because I'm taking the test basically and giving it to you in segments, right? So you will have your part 1 of that test coming up. Hopefully be posting that later today, and you will have part 2 later this week. Okay, question. The appendix is a prime example of a structure. A, homologous, B, analogous, C, vestigial, or D, heterologous. The correct answer is going to be C, vestigial. C, vestigial, okay? Because again, we're talking about structures we no longer use, right? Okay, I've already discussed this, no worries. We've already done this on your own as well. Discuss this. Again, you were to only write what was in red. Don't ignore that last slide. Quick hydrothermal vents video. You don't need to write these questions down in your notebook, but just things to think about. What is life like near the hydrothermal vent? for our first question. And secondly, how do organisms survive there, and why would it be a good place for Earth's life to start? So now, guys, keep in mind we're on page 7. We should be on the 3rd section. Again, that is the hydrothermal vents section, describing what is important about that. So I will be posting this video. There are no questions for it, but it gives us a good glimpse of kind of that deep water deep life that can be hinting towards.
There's another world beneath the ocean surface. Come join us as we explore the depths below.
Right? I can't speak with it. But you can see volcanic.
On the seafloor, water shimmers. Life abounds. We're looking at hydrothermal vents, originally discovered near the Galapagos Rift in 1977.
And we can see
organisms that live around hydrothermal.
All sorts of organisms.
What kinds of animals? Well, scientists on the NOAA ship Oki.
Okay. So it's on you to make sure to watch all of that. Only 2.5 minutes. It's a really great intro and glimpse to what life is like in the deep seas and why it really hints towards life maybe starting there on Earth in the first place. Okay, so only write what's in red. As I said before, we have the topic. Again, don't forget to write the topic as well. Hydrothermal vents. Well, the idea is that instead of life forming in shallow water, it formed in deep sea water. Okay, originating in deep sea volcanic vents through a process called chemosynthesis. So creatures at this part of the earth there's no sunlight. So there's no photosynthesis. Again, all energy is filtered through photosynthesis from herbivores to carnivores, et cetera, et cetera. Well, these creatures have to survive through the chemicals that are coming out of those volcanic vents, right? We call that chemosynthesis. And as you guys saw in that video, is there life near these extreme environments where it's very hot and full of chemicals? There's a ton of life, a ton of creatures. We had crabs, we had tube worms. You watch all the video, you'll see all the creatures there. And then drawback, which could be why it could maybe be disproven, might have been too hot for organic molecules to survive, right? So it might have been too hot. All right, let's go ahead and do our, again, those are just these cards, these are just the plastic cards that we scan and use in class. But let's go ahead and just look at the second question. All of the following are analogous structures to one another except eagle wing, dragonfly wing, penguin wing, or bat wing. Okay, so keep in mind, I think of homologous, I need to think of a similar relation, same ancestor. If I think of analogous, I've got to think of the same function, right? Does it do the same thing? Okay, and in this case, let's break it down. Eagle wing, flies. Dragonfly wing, flies. Penguin wing, swims. Bat wing, flies. So the structure that stands out, the structure that does not belong is the penguin wing because it swims. That is the structure that is not the analogous structure in this grouping, right? So homologous, relation, analogous, I gotta look at function, analogous function, okay? Our last topic of today is what's called panspermia, okay? Again, only write what's in red. This is the idea that life came from maybe an asteroid or comet from another solar system, and it brought about alien bacteria, okay, to our planet. And maybe that's how life first started. So that's really the idea. So again, organic molecules were brought to Earth in asteroids or comets. We know those as extraterrestrial bodies, right? So go ahead, just write that down. Why it's called panspermia? Because think of the Earth like an egg and the comet or asteroid like a sperm cell, okay? When those two combine, they form a zygote and then eventually an embryo and bring about life. So maybe that's potentially how life started on Earth, right? And then again, I have another video following that before our last question of the day that kind of gives you a breakdown of that theory, right? So let's go ahead and get a glimpse of that. Again, you are responsible for watching these on your own.
But a controversial theory claims that comets didn't just help life to begin. They may have brought life itself to the Earth. Are aliens living among us?
Something approaching fast!
The Earth is under attack. Alien life forms have us surrounded, and there is nowhere to run.
Okay. And not real aliens, that's kind of just a pop culture reference. We're talking alien bacteria. And as you'll find out in this video, Well, the big question to this is, well, can it survive on an asteroid or comet's impact? You know, when those objects get near the Earth, they heat up and burn up, right, as we can see. And they found that through experiments, when launching rocks filled with bacteria at the same speed and destruction, they explode these rocks, the bacteria still survives. So this is a plausible theory. Again, none of these theories are 100% fact, but they can be changed and revised. And this theory currently is seen as a solid one that could change, right? But again, just an idea. So make sure, again, page 7 should now be complete, students. We should have all the origin of life theories from spontaneous generation, primordial soup, hydrothermal vents, and panspermia. Again, do not forget, oh, one more question. Which origin of life theory involves the introduction of life through warm, keyword shallow waters filled with chemicals? That would be, guys, B, primordial soup. Again, deep waters, hydrothermal vents, comets or asteroids, panspermia, and then descent without creatures from before it is spontaneous generation. Okay, so something key to look at, again, we've got our vocab here. That is due on the 18th. You only need to do 1 through 15, no worries. Ignore 16 through 21. You'll turn those in online in the assignment post I've posted, either through the assignments or under the Unit 1 assessments module that you see on the home page. Okay, have any questions, let me know. I know I've got some messages to get back to after the weekend, so I will do that, and I will get that quiz posted as soon as possible. Mr. Campbell signing out. Stay up to date, guys, on your quizzes and your assignments. Have any questions, let me know.